Anybody have any questions?
Sure. Would you like to share with us what your daughter has done, please?
Sure. She worked, she had 2 children, her husband and they had just divorced. And she worked her way through Murray State College, got her associate's degree, then went on to Southeastern, got her master's degree, and then went on to East Central and got her bachelor's degree. So, you know, it's and some of that, some of the programs through the Chickasaw Nation did help her out. You know, I have to, and like I said, there are great programs out there. It's just finding out. A lot of times they don't know where they have to go to find these programs. And I believe that legislators ought to be able to help them find those areas.
Okay.
Joyce, you mentioned getting the availability of the senior programs.
Yes.
And you talked about the youth program, school and things like that. Then you mentioned working people. So are you saying that the wide middle
Yes.
is left out?
Yes. I worked in that section where the administration, they got good pay. I worked at Colorado Hospitals where I worked, and I worked in the dental laboratory. And just when I got to the position where I felt like that I would, see above the red, they downsized. And at that time, they did away with a lot of jobs, and I was from that, and so I know what it's like to be down there making that minimum wage, and not being able to make it. I've talked to lots of families that are still in that situation. They feel like that they're not being paid for what they bring to the nation as employees. And it's just like I said, I know that feeling because I've been there. So I like to see a lot of those families. Most of those families have 2 and 3 children, and it takes 2 people to make a living. And I'd like to see that change within the nation. I'd like to see that change because we have. I keep hearing, well, we've got this much money, and we've got this much money, and I know all of these grants and all this money is already made available to certain departments, but I believe with all the casino money that they say that's available, why not take some of that casino money and make that more.
Since you worked in the health facility, what do you see would be a means of us possibly recruiting more healthcare professionals, nurses and doctors and this kind of thing to come and work at our new beautiful facility? What would be the incentives that you see, since you've been from the inside now looking out in, that would be a drawing card to bring them into our hospital?
Well, for some of them, better pay, but being there at the hospital, I have also seen too where people are paid fairly well and they're not doing their jobs. Of course, like I said, I worked on the inside. I've heard the complaints. I've heard just talking, just being in the facility, heard people talking about, I can't make it. It's hard for me. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Well, we don't have enough physicians there because they want better pay, and of course, I always thought physicians were good money,
On the physicians, who pays them? Microsoft funds pay them? Federal dollars that pay them?
I believe it's federal dollars that pay them. because we still receive grants from the government. And I believe it's the federal government that does them, but most of them are labor in the services. Hospitals. I don't know how much, I don't know how many of those are in the servicing, but yes, we still have some of those. Most of those that I know of are retiring right now, and they're having a hard time getting any physician to come to them. I talked to one lady that her sister and her husband are physicians, and they're wanting to come this way, but they don't like the Ada area because it's it's not the big city. A lot of them want the big city where Ada's not one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, as a legislator, you mentioned, you touched on what you thought important qualities were, or things that are bringing you to run for this position. How are you going to carry that out? I believe you mentioned availability maybe with citizens. Can you expound on that? Like, what's your idea? How are you going to do a better job than maybe what's going on?
I feel like that the legislative position should be a 40-hour work week. I think they get paid enough right now for a 40-hour work week. I don't think they need another raise. I don't feel like they need another raise. But I feel like that if that legislator was available to you 40 hours a week, then they might be able to help a lot more people than they do now. I just believe that they need to be available more, and 40 hours a week. Like I said, some of them get paid for that amount already. Some of their wages are already paid for a 40-hour week, I feel like, and I don't think they need another raise. I've heard that they were asking for a raise, or it was this year that if they wanted a raise, this was the time to ask for it. So, but I don't believe they need another raise. I feel like that some of them are paid too much, and they need to be more available for the people.
Yeah.
Me?
Oh, who was that?
You mentioned earlier that your daughter took out a student loan.
Yes.
And the federal government offers certain programs to alleviate student debt, and one of them is the public service forgiveness program. And what that is if you work for a state government, a federal government, or even a tribal government, after a certain amount of time, I think it's 10 years of continuous service, they'll forgive the remainder of the debt. 10 years of on-time payment. Would you support the tribe doing something similar or matching the federal government?
I believe I would. I believe I would because I've seen a lot of students that have to borrow, get a student loan to go to on to college. I had to borrow to go on to college, and I'm just now really getting it all paid back. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Anything for the education of our students. I would be a
If you were a legislator, would you support a resolution that would enable the children in grade school to get mentors and tutors and things like that, even more so than what we have now? We have a limited amount, but more of our children need to be educated on what career opportunities are there and what we're going to need in the future.
I have to say yes to that because I had grandchildren that could have used tutors. I had children that could have used tutors when they were growing up, but I don't believe they had tutors at that time when my kids were growing up. And yeah, I have to say yes. That would be something I would hope for.
Just a quick comment about, as far as, and correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, but I think the legislators automatically get a 3% raise every year, isn't it, for years of service?
3.5%.
So we get, so in other words, we have legislators, especially long-term legislators, who are making, you know, way over $100,000. A lot of people don't know that. And we also, you know, and also we have, as far as I know, we have the highest paid executive branch of any form of government in this country. Nobody makes more than our governor. Not the President of the United States. Nobody I know of. But you talk about the employees. I'm one of the few Chickasaws I know that have never worked for the tribe. But I've known hundreds that have. And unfortunately, most of the ones that I know no longer work for the tribe. And that's a problem. This was a problem that was before the legislature 10 years ago about employee salaries. And to all the people running for the legislature, I would encourage you to look at that real hard, especially if you're fortunate enough to win. Because we have a lot of great people that have worked for the nation and are working for them right now, but they don't get paid for it. You know it and I know it. If you're at a certain level, you do, but anybody below that, they don't. And I commend you for bringing that up.
Well, Joyce, do you think there should be term limits for these elected officials?
Yes, I do. I agree with that. I thought that ages ago, and I still think there should be term limits. I think there should be possibly two. Let's see. Depending on how long each legislator has.
A term is 3 years for legislative and judicial, and then it's 4 years for the executive branch.
Yes, I do. I think there should be term limits. Because if you're disappointed in your legislator and they're not doing the job that you think they're doing, then yeah, I think it's time to move them out and put somebody in there that you believe would, you know, you vote for and believe would do what is right for the people. We have that power to vote, to use our voice in voting. And if we don't vote and we don't put those people out, then whose fault is that for not voting? It's ours. It's ours for not making that effort to get out there and vote. So if you have, you know, if you're dissatisfied, then get out there and do something about it. That is one of the reasons why I'm here today, because I got tired of not knowing who one of my legislative officers was. I never saw him, and I'm not naming any names, but I never saw him. To this day, I do not know what he looks like. So, you know, and that's why I'm here. I want him out. I feel like that I could do a better job than he's ever done. And I want your vote.
20 seconds. You want to make any comments?
The only thing I have to say is
Got a quick question. Would you support a term limitation, like if you run 3 times 9 years and then you're not allowed to run?
yes, I would. I think that would be only right to give somebody else.
And not necessarily 3, but just some limit.
Yeah, to give somebody else a chance that may bring in new ideas, and you know, sometimes after we're in here a while, we just get stale. You know?